All right, welcome back to another episode of Two Fans, 12 Rings. Jeff here and Brad at the buzzer.
Right on time, dude. Had to make it right on time.
Yeah. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Good. Good. Preseason football in full swing. Life's been a little bit back to normal. I last week finished my first full week back from vacation. It feels like I've already been back from vacation for forever. Like I don't even remember vacation at this point. And I literally cannot wait any longer for football. Fantasy drafts are popping up now, starting to come into full swing. I'll have both my fantasy drafts done by next Thursday. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I have one Friday and Sunday. So both of mine are this weekend. Very exciting.
Do you have your mud volleyball this Saturday?
I do. We had volleyball last Saturday. I got mud volleyball, big tournament. One of my favorite days of the year this Saturday. So get off work Friday, fantasy draft that night, mud volleyball, maybe go to the gaff afterwards. Sunday, another fantasy draft. Monday, I'll be on an IV.
What is polyball?
It's just called polyball. There was a woman who she died. I think she passed away of breast cancer like 30 some years ago, and her family put together this tournament where basically people get sponsored by their place of employment to form a team.
I see.
They can use half of it as tax write-off, so it cheapens the deal, and all the money goes to like breast cancer research, I believe. And the mud volleyball tournament, as of this year, we will have reached over $100,000 over the years for different kinds of cancer research, awareness kind of stuff. So they're both fundraising events. They both bring in a lot of money for some good causes, and just a lot of fun.
Cool. Last week we did Rams, Jags, Bengals, Steelers. Good pod.
Oh yeah.
Good pod. Not gonna lie, I am in utter shock that Brandon Ayuk is not a Steeler today. And I'm not gonna lie, the longer this plays out, the more I think he's a 49er. And I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that quickly.
No, I totally agree. It just seems like he wanted to play there. The money wasn't perfect, and they couldn't strike a deal with the 49ers. But it does still feel like the Steelers are the only team left in it, or else the deal would be done, until he signs with the 49ers. But it just seems like it, from everything I've heard, Brandon Ayuk's side, 49ers side, Steelers side, everyone's just ready for a resolution one way or the other. The season starts in less than 2 weeks. Like, let's figure it out.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I mean, at this point, so we're in the same dynasty league together. I have Brandon Ayuk. It'd be nice to know what team he's playing for and if he's going to be relied on this season. And, the one thing that's kind of flown under the radar is I don't even know if a deal does not get done, is he going to suit up?
It's interesting.
You know what I mean? Is like, that's where we're at. He's either going to have to sign a deal with the Niners, get traded, or what? What's option C?
And another thing, kind of going back to last season, it seems like from what Adam Schefter's saying, people in the situation, is Jamar Chase playing? Because the biggest part about Jamar Chase is, remember, he sat out a whole year of college knowing the business implications and what he was worth.
Yep.
Well, he's only owed $4 million this year. The game check fines are like $200K, and he knows he has 32 million a year coming around the corner. He's perfectly fine with sitting out. I mean, yeah, it'll be big time for T. Higgins, but Jamar Chase, that's huge for fantasy owners. We just talked about drafts coming up. What's going on with that too? So it's very tricky.
Yeah, the whole Jamar Chase thing, we have not talked about that. Even last week on the pod, we didn't really talk about Jamar Chase a ton. He is one that you bring up a great point. He sat out the 2020 COVID year. Now, mind you, he was kind of given an out. Players didn't have to play during COVID. And by doing so, he didn't have to fulfill a scholarship or anything. He was still able to go to class and get his scholarship. And then he obviously took off and was the first receiver off the board in that 2021 draft. But yeah, Ja'Marr Chase obviously not having a payday when a lot of these other wide receivers have paydays. CeeDee Lamb, another one. And he's on the Cowboys are on this pod. Dolphins, Eagles, Browns, Cowboys, fantastic pod lineup here today. But a lot of contract issues that are not really getting resolved, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we've seen, gosh, how many record-breaking contracts have we seen this offseason? Like it's upwards of 5 or 6.
Every single one, if it's a duplicate position.
Yeah.
If you were the second wide receiver, you broke it. If you were the third receiver, you broke it.
Yeah.
If you're the fourth receiver, you broke it.
Quarterback money's been broken a bunch.
Trevor Lawrence broke it.
Yeah. And the thing is, but the wide receivers, it's not going to be broke again, I don't think, because of the fact that JJ got $35 million, which was
CD maybe.
Deal. It's possible.
Maybe.
It's possible. No, you're right. It's possible for CD. Definitely not Ayuk, but
Ja'Marr. I don't know.
Rumor has it New England offered Brighton and Ayuk $32 million, which isn't JJ money, but it's damn close.
I mean,
but
couple
he didn't want to play for New England. But first team today, Dolphins, followed by Eagles, Browns, Cowboys. The one thing I want to point out before we even get started, all these teams have one thing in common. Do you know what it is?
They made the playoffs.
And?
They lost their first playoff game.
Almost all of them were blown. Actually, you could make the argument all of them were blown out. Kind of weird because these were really good football teams last year. We'll start with the Dolphins, but Dolphins were 11-6. They lost at Kansas City in one of the coldest games in NFL history, 26-7. They did have 6 Pro Bowlers, and they return a lot of talent this year, and I'll let you go through that. Dolphins had a really good year to be honest, their standards. This has been a team that hasn't won a playoff game. I believe they are the last team standing. So they're the oldest team without a playoff win right now. Oldest team. They're the last team to have a playoff victory, the longest losing streak, I should say. However, whatever that stat is.
Every team has won a playoff game in between the Dolphins' last win and no.
Thanks for saving me, Brett.
I got you. I saw you drowning, but
yes.
All right. So they lose big-time defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. They lose outside pass rusher Andrew Van Ginkel. They lose 2 safeties, Jerome Baker at linebacker, Emmanuel Ogba, cornerback Xavier Howard, and offensive guard Robert Hunt. Lots of losses. They signed on the edge Shaq Barrett, Jordan Brooks, Kendall Fuller at corner, Jordan Poyer at safety from the Bills, leader, captain. Tight end Jonnu Smith, center Aaron Brewer, and a linebacker. We go to their draft. They got Chop Robinson.
Real quick, before you go any farther, you said they added Shaq Barrett.
He retired, though, didn't he?
He did. I think he did.
I'm pretty sure he did, too. I was going to get into it after I took a second. I'm reading just like everybody that added to their team. But, yes, I'm pretty sure he retired. But they did draft – they draft Chop Robinson out of Penn State.
Yep.
An offensive tackle from Houston, and speedy running back Jalen Wright, who's having a kind of explosive preseason. I know a lot of people are seeing his highlights. You get right into the depth chart. Speaking of the running backs, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, Jeff Wilson Jr. Just an absolutely a lot of guys in that room, a lot of versatile weapons. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, OBJ. We all know what this offense is, right?
Yeah. In 70 degrees, they look fantastic. When it gets a little colder, they haven't quite adapted to where you would love to see them as a Dolphins fan. But this is a very good football team. Anytime Tua lines up, despite whatever you think about Tua, they've won high percentage of games when he's in the lineup.
Yeah, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb both coming off injury on the pass rushing front to help young Chop Robinson. The Falcons let Calais Campbell, big-time D tackle, been in the league since, I think, 1989, still tearing it up. He's just a massive body. Everybody knows Calais Campbell. The secondary, though, Jordan Poyer being added to Javon Holland at the safety spot. Jalen Ramsey can erase one corner. You give the safeties, Poyer and Holland, the type of trust in a Jalen Ramsey on one side or on a best receiver following. I think there's a lot of special things that can happen against the pass. We'll see how that front comes together. A lot of new pieces, a lot of injuries. But, Tua, what he did with the passing game, what Tyreek Hill back-to-back, 1,700-yard seasons.
Something wild.
He's been amazing. So there's a lot to like about this team from weeks 1 to 13 in the regular season. They're a great fantasy team.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have a ton to add. I guess the one last thing is, the NFL players voted Tyreek Hill the number one player in the league. So that just goes to show you what he means to both the Dolphins and wide receivers in football. He actually got a raise this offseason too, so they extended him. And, he had actually said when he signed his deal with Miami that he was going to retire after the deal, and then I think they added some more years. I don't think it was just a raise. So Dolphins lock up arguably the best receiver in the league.
Yeah, everybody knows about his speed. Everyone knows what he's done. Chiefs, Dolphins.
Yeah. We ready to go in on the schedule?
Yeah, we can. Let's do it. The Miami Dolphins. Okay. Week 1. You like to have teams come down to you in the summertime as a Dolphins.
Yeah.
But week 1, they host the Jacksonville Jaguars from a few hours up the road. So I don't know if the heat is really a factor here. However, they are at home versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I gave the Jags the win, and I don't love it. So live, we are changing the Jaguars. This is now a loss for the Jags and a win for the Dolphins, dropping the Jags to 10-7 for me. And I'm giving the Dolphins the win. Not sure why I thought the Jags would win that game. I literally am having a massive change of heart. Dolphins.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins here too. Short week, still at home. They host the Buffalo Bills.
I'm completely lost on the Bills. I think they're going to be good, but I don't know why.
Josh Allen.
That is really it. Early season, this feels like a Dolphins dub.
I like that as well. Week 3, they head all the way out to the Seattle Seahawks.
I give that to. That's an interesting game.
I kind of like the Seattle Seahawks here.
Do you?
I think I do.
Seattle makes sense.
We all know DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey hate each other, and they'll be matched up. But Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tyler Lockett, they have a very strong running game.
Seattle was my Florida notes. I'm gonna go Dolphins.
Okay. Then they are back home Monday night against the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans, is that a Florida one too? I like the Titans, but week 4, I have them losing to Miami. Miami's going 4-0 to start the season.
Now, you know the Seattle game is in Seattle, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's early enough. What time's that game?
4:05.
Yeah, I'm okay with Miami there.
Week 5 at the New England Patriots.
I'm like 99% sure I have.
You did. You said you guys can't stop Tua.
We can't. I mean, that's just.
So you have them 5-0.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is kind of where they've been lately. They win a bunch of games.
This is their story the last few years, correct?
Yeah.
I have them 4-1. Their bye week is week 6.
Interesting. It's a little too early for a team that has Super Bowl hopes.
They come out of the bye at the Indianapolis Colts.
This does feel like a win coming off the bye. I'm pretty sure I have them winning this game. I don't have any Colts notes, but that's okay. We are going Dolphins to go 6-0.
I like the Colts here. Back home versus the Arizona Cardinals. I like them to beat the Cardinals.
I have the Cardinals losing. Yeah, I mean Miami or a dome, it really wouldn't matter. This team is they're the talk of the league, 7-0.
At Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo already having lost to them this time in Buffalo. I like Buffalo here. I'm going to give Miami the loss.
I like Buffalo as well. Back-to-back road spot as they play Monday night against the Rams in Los Angeles.
Yeah, really like the Rams. I believe this is week 10.
This is week 10.
I actually went back and forth on this. I ended up giving them a loss, the Rams a loss, which means Miami's taking the dub here.
All right, so I have the Dolphins at 5-4. Do you have them at 9-1 or
8-4? What losses do you have for them?
I have them losing at Seattle, at Indianapolis, and then I have them losing the back-to-back road spot here, Bills Rams.
Man, yeah, I mean I don't disagree, but I do have them at 9-1.
Yeah, the one I could be persuaded to switch is at the Colts since they are off of a bye. But I'm at 5-4. They're then back home in a back-to-back home spot, Raiders Patriots. I like win-win here.
Yeah, I am feeling a very easy schedule. So far, the only ones that I don't love, both Buffalo games and the Rams.
Where are you at?
I have them at 11-1. No, 10-1. 10-1.
After the New England Patriots, they have a short week where they play Thursday night at the Green Bay Packers.
That's a loss. It's getting cold out. It's getting cold out. This is where they start to come down to earth.
They are then back home against the New York Jets.
Rodgers in December or in November in Florida, though. I'll take Miami.
I like Miami too. Then they're at the Houston Texans. Hey.
I like Houston a lot.
Real quick, we do talk about Miami falling off later. 3 of their last 4 games are on the road. And it's a really tough stretch here. So we just did the New York game, right? Home against the Jets.
We did home against the Jets, and then what's week 15? Houston?
At the Houston Texans.
So that game I don't have in my notes either. I'm going to assume that is also a Florida note. That feels like a Texans win.
I think so too. They are then back home in Florida to host the San Francisco 49ers.
Loss.
I think that's a loss as well. Then Sunday, December 28th or 29th. This is 8:20 game, night game in Cleveland, Ohio against the Browns. Where the Browns had the number 1 home defense last year. I think that's a loss. And then they finish at the Jets.
I have them ending the season 0-4, and that's probably harsh.
Dude, I did too, and I ended 8-9.
You're being really tough on them.
I know. I like Tua. You know I like Tua.
I know. This team can score. They can flat score. And a lot of their losses will come late. I have them finishing the season 1-5, but they only have 1 loss prior to that. So they're going to end the year 11-6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11-6 for the second straight year.
Oh, we have them 3 wins off. We usually aren't that far.
I mean, the ones that I can go back and forth on are the Rams. I do think they'll split with the Bills. I think they'll split with the Jets.
I guess what I could do is I could give them the Colts, and I have them 0-4 in their last 4. I could give them one of those 4. Whether it's the Texans, 49ers, Browns, or Jets, they just get
the
one.
And I feel like they could win as well. I'm fine with 11-6. I think that's right where they're at.
I think
do think you're a little low, but what's their over/under? Is it 10.5?
It's 9.5.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a couple sway games there. I was a little harsh on them to end the year Are they unable to play in the cold? What are their last 5? So it's at Houston.
Wait, their last 4 or 5?
At last 4.
At Houston.
At Houston.
Home against the Niners.
Home again. That's a loss for me, but okay.
Yeah. And you always talk about in the cold and after the Niners. They're at Cleveland December 29th night game.
That's a loss all day long. I chalk that all day long. I'm sorry. Going to what's the date?
December 29th.
No, that is a Cleveland W all day long.
Yeah, and then they could either come home or stay up there, but then they're at New York on January 5th. That's an outdoor stadium too. Jets defense.
And I would imagine the Jets are playing for their playoff life.
This could be a game for the division with how tough the AFC and stuff is. So, like that last.
I was nice to them early on, but God forbid if they don't go 10-1 to start the year, I could see where you're at. Anything else on the Dolphins?
No, I was just taking down a note real quick. In this notebook I have, I don't know if you can see it. I gave each team 4 pages, and this year to kind of help with betting or maybe even next year, I plan to jot down a few notes after every game that I watched. Like they struggled here, they didn't do this well, and just so I have notes. So I
had 2 Havsy notebooks that I've been using for the pod. It's school supply season. Went and got myself a fresh one.
Attaboy. Yeah, this one had like 5 tabs. I have this orange one which separates my favorite bets on the back 2 pages, and this one just separates AFC, NFC.
I do have a locks page that I've had going, but I haven't really updated it. My only locks that I absolutely love so far this year is Panthers under 5.5 wins, Chargers over 8.5 wins. And remember, we kind of battled about this, but I'm really confident the Cardinals are beating the Bills week 1.
Yeah, I should maybe have more, but I have Panthers under 5.5, Commanders over 6.5, Vikings under 7.5, Chargers over 8.5, Jags over 8.5, and Steelers over 8.5. So that's basically Chargers, Jags, Steelers to end the season on a winning record. Obviously, Steelers, do with that what you will. You guys know what I'm about. Division plus 220 for the Dolphins. Win total 9.5. Make the playoffs minus 140. Miss plus 114. Super Bowl plus 2,400. Is it the Browns or the Eagles that are next?
I have Eagles.
Okay. I forgot the order of those 2 teams.
Yeah. Shout out friend of the pod, Chris Hoffman. I feel like I have to kiss up a little bit prior to this because I honestly don't know how this is going to go. But as he's alluded to, I have picked them to lose a lot of games, and I've been doing my best to go back and see how I've predicted games and stay true to that. I just wonder. Eagles, 11-6 last year. They lost 32-9 at the Buccaneers. They did have 8 Pro Bowlers. They started the season 10-1 and finished 1-5, which is why I've been so hell bent to think that this team isn't what they were at one point. The team that just 400 some odd days ago went to the Super Bowl. I just think that we're significantly removed from that. And, we'll talk about the departures and what they've added. This is a good football team. But what's good? Because 9 wins is a good football team. I don't think they're the 13 wins they were just a few years ago. But take it away with the adds and losses there.
Just real quick, I'm trying to remember who's the new defensive coordinator for the Eagles. I'm drawing a blank.
I can look it up real quick though. Defensive coordinator for the Eagles.
Vic Fangio
Fangio's very good.
Yeah. So, just so we allude, just real quick, in terms of additions and losses, I did want to start there because they did have that kind of downfall with the former quarterback coach being the offensive coordinator and the DC that was there. I feel like it all kind of fell apart. I feel like Nick Sirianni took on too much responsibility. But I always talk about Mike Tomlin, how he needs to have good coordinators because he rallies a team. He's more of a people kind of person. I think Sirianni's kind of learning that as a young head coach. Like, he might not be the X's and O's guys, and that's where him and Jalen Hurts, where those reports came out. So I do feel like adding Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio to have more command on their sides and let Nick kind of run the whole operation, motivation, stuff like that. I feel like they addressed part of the reason why they had the downfall. Because I'm very high on the Eagles too. I've been bullish on the Eagles the last few years while we done the pod. But we'll get into some of their losses. They lose Kevin Byard, safety. He didn't really do much for them.
They traded him. No, they traded for him, and then they lost him.
It says, yeah, he's not there. They must have got rid of him. DeAndre Swift, Hassan Reddick, and center Jason Kelsey.
And Fletcher Cox.
Did I not? I must have went to say him when we were talking. Yes, but Fletcher Cox and Jason Kelsey both retire. But they had running back Saquon Barkley, outside linebacker Bryce Huff, who was the Jets sack leader last year, middle linebacker Devin White from Tampa. That's flown under the radar for a lot of people. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson is back in Philadelphia, and we remember what he did while he was there. So to add to CGJ coming back, they said our secondary's weak. Let's get Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean out of the draft. Unbelievable pickups. Jalix Hunt, an edge rusher. Will Shipley, running back from Clemson. They had kind of a litany of picks. They add Jeremiah Trotter from Clemson to that linebacking room. I mean, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, the best tackle combination in the league. Maybe they're at the Lions. Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson. Landon Dickerson's a Pro Bowler at guard. Cam Jurgens was also hand-selected by Jason Kelsey 2 years ago, I believe, as his replacement. They got Big Mekhi Becton at right guard. They've moved him to guard. He's working there. You go to the defense, they got all those Georgia boys. But in the secondary, Keely Ringo from Georgia, a higher draft pick a few years ago. Darius Slay, Reed Blankenship, CGJ, Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, the linebacking room, Devin White, Nakobe Dean, Josh Sweat, Zach Bond, Bryce Huff. Defensive tackles, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis from Georgia. This team's absolutely.
They still have Brandon Graham.
Yes, Brandon Graham. So he got moved to the second line. Yeah, Brandon Graham. There's also a corner, Isaiah Rodgers. He was a really good slot corner for the Colts. I believe it was the Colts. Yeah, he joined last year, but he was suspended all year for gambling. So he did not play, so you could count him as an addition. This team may have the most loaded roster up there with any team. You put it top to bottom. Again, it's tough to find a weakness on the team. I don't know if we're going. Are we going to do an awards prediction episode? Being so close to the season.
Plan on it.
All right, I will keep some of that close to my chest, but you guys are going to find out if you haven't already. I think the Eagles are a tremendous football team. I think outside of the kind of bad ending last year, do you think it's going to carry over or don't you? I don't. I think this team starts new. Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, Sirianni. Don't forget, you talk about Michigan, the strength and conditioning coach. You know, we talked about how much he means.
Mm-hmm.
Big Dom not being on the sideline seemed to matter. Their security guard who got thrown off from the 49ers, he's been elevated to a new role on the team. He'll be back. I think this team's ready to go, man. I think injury to quarterback is the only thing that can slow him down. And heaven forbid we see Saquon Barkley on a good offense again. I mean, I say again? I don't know. Was he ever?
Yeah, no, I think the Eagles are as good as anyone when it comes to definitely roster. And I think they do slightly bounce back. So time will tell. But it was ugly how it finished last year, and there's something there. So we'll see. And
I'm looking real quick at their schedule. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have at least 5 primetime games, so we'll be seeing quite a bit of the Eagles.
Yeah.
Just trying to think if I left anything off. I just think that, God, I love this defense, and I saw you try to pick them up in our Dynasty League as well, and my waiver went through, and I was like, man, I thought I might have spent money on the fob, but Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and James Bradbury's still there, but he's fallen off at corner, and he approached the coaching staff to ask to be moved to safety. So he will be in a different spot as a veteran defensive back player. Quinyon Mitchell seems to be potentially starting in the slot. I also failed to mention Avonte Maddox, who was hurt last year. Another good piece to the secondary. It's going to be tough for me to give this team losses, I think. But they got number one. If you win your division, or even if you finish top 2, you're going to have tougher schedules. So you ready to just get down to the schedule?
I think I am. They kick off the season in a fun way. I'll let you take it away.
I'll also say some people said, Brad, you didn't mention that they also added Kenny Pickett. Yes, they have Kenny Pickett slated to be the backup. We'll see if he wins the backup job. But, yeah, Kenny Two Gloves, he's out there. Week 1, Friday night, second game of the year. I'm not sure why the NFL would pick 2 teams that have green in their color to go to the murder capital of the world where they're not allowed to wear green because of gang violence down there. Can't wait to see what these jerseys are going to be. But pray for their safety. Green Bay, Philadelphia, down in Brazil on Peacock Friday night.
First off,
banger game.
Despite everything else, banger game. We're going to kick off Thursday Night Football with Chiefs Ravens, and that's awesome. But we're going to go back to work the next day, and we're going to be talking about the next game that's on that night, and I can't wait for it.
And then Sunday night is Lions Rams. Jets 49ers Monday night.
Monday night's Jets Bills, right? Or
Jets 49ers.
Sorry, Jets 49ers. Yeah. So we're getting massive opening weekend. Well, we're gonna start off with a bang. Okay, we haven't done the Packers yet.
No, they won their first playoff game.
Yeah,
they slaughtered the Cowboys.
Why haven't we done the Packers? What was their record last year?
It's about draft picks, so the playoffs now matter. They won a playoff game. It'll be like Buccaneers, Packers, Texans, someone else next.
Okay.
Can't remember.
Okay, that makes more sense. Let's see. I do like the Eagles in this game. One of my biggest pump the brake teams in the entire league is the Packers. I think they're fine. I think they're a fine team.
I'll soft pump a little bit, but I love the Eagles more than them. I think they're a little bit more of a veteran team. I think that's going to travel better to Brazil.
I agree. Yeah. I agree.
Then they come back home, which you can make a case that even though it's a longer week, they get more rest. Coming back from Brazil may be a fatigue factor. I don't think so this early in the season. Kirk Cousins in primetime. The Falcons, Monday night. He cannot get away from the Eagles early in the year in primetime. And they kill him every time.
Is this the third straight year he's played the Eagles week 2 to start the year?
It was like week 2, all in the first 3 weeks, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the exact, but he's been destroyed in all of them.
So this one's at Philadelphia?
Yeah. Monday night, September 16th, home opener for the Eagles.
I'm almost positive I give this to the Eagles.
You have to.
Week 2, I actually have the Falcons winning this game. I'm sticking with it. Real quick though, since we've done the Falcon pod, they've added Matthew Judon and they added Justin Simmons.
Yeah,
I had them 10-7. They're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, little fun nugget. I'm just noticing with the schedule. This is 3 straight games of NFC South football for the Eagles. So they host Atlanta on Monday night. I think you're really screwing that one up. That's a win for the Eagles. However, back-to-back road spots. New Orleans, Tampa. Back-to-back road spots. First, it's New Orleans, week 3. I like the win there.
I do too. It's a tough place to play, but yes. I do like them to win because I just do not trust the Saints scoring this year. That's going to be their problem.
I also think this is a good game, and the Eagles may be out for revenge since I believe Tampa's the team that knocked them out of the playoffs.
32-9.
But it was Brazil, then primetime, short week on the road to the Saints. I'm going to give them their first loss. I think Tampa gets them again. A little bit of a bugaboo there. They've had some tough ones, whether it's Brady or Baker. They've had some tough times with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is Devin White returning. I have to give the Eagles losses at some spots here. They're not going to go perfect.
I have them going back to back in those games. They'll get the revenge on the Bucs. They're better than the Saints flat out. I have them starting 3-1.
Yeah, I have them starting 3-1 too, and I think anybody can make the case looking at it as a chunk of 4 games. They lose one of them in there. They hit their bye week really early, which I feel like the Eagles would not have liked to have a week 5 bye. But that's where it is. So, week 6, out of the bye, home against the Cleveland Browns.
This does feel like a loss, and we have not done the Browns yet, have we?
No.
Yeah. I'm going to give the Browns the win there. Coming off a bye even.
I'm going to give the Eagles the win. You said we haven't broke down the Browns yet. I don't think Nick Chubb is fully healthy yet. I don't think this team is going to be able to pass well in the Eagles, but also the Browns oddly had the 32nd ranked defense on the road last year. That's really weird. But this is a good game though, but also out of the bye, kind of like the Eagles here. At the New York Giants.
That's a win.
Agreed. Mark it down. I think 88% of Kenny Gainwell's career touchdowns are against the Giants. I know he's the third string running back, but anytime tutty prop there.
Yeah.
Back-to-back road spot, October 27th at the Cincinnati Bengals.
This is week 8. I have the Bengals winning, and I'm cool with that. I like that.
I'll give the Bengals here. Week 9, back home, Jacksonville Jaguars, Sunday Night Football.
Week 9?
Yep.
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning.
I like the Eagles winning. Then they go from Sunday night at home against Jacksonville, and then they travel to the Dallas Cowboys. We'll get into them later. I think they're not going to be as good. I have the Eagles winning there too.
Where's this first one at?
Like against Dallas?
Yeah.
They're at Dallas here.
I'm going to give Dallas the win.
Then short week, Thursday Night Football. They're home against the Washington Commanders.
They're going to win. Wow, I have Washington winning that game. There's no way Washington wins that game. Not after the Eagles go 0-3 there. They're gonna win this game, and Washington is gonna drop that game, moving them to 7-10.
Okay. So what do you have the Eagles? They've played 10 games so far and had a bye.
I have them 5-5.
Okay, I have them 8-2. They are then Sunday Night Football. So they go Sunday night, 4:25 Cowboys, which will be on TV. Thursday night, Sunday night. So long rest, but Sunday night at the Los Angeles Rams.
That's week what? That's week 12?
That is week 12.
Yeah, now I see why Chris is so mad at me. Yeah, they're going to lose there.
That's okay. That's a back-to-back road spot, December 1st at the Ravens. I think they dropped the back-to-back, or the second of the away games there.
This is week 13?
Yes.
And it's to the Ravens?
Yeah. Potential Super Bowl preview here in my mind.
Oh, boy. Boy.
I think the long week after Washington, long extra week, I think they beat the Rams, but then lose to the Ravens. You got them loss?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Eagles, so you got them at what, 5-7?
Yeah.
Oof. Eagles 5-7. Okay. Well, bounce back spot, home against the Panthers.
They're winning that.
Yeah, they are. They might be the first team to hit 10 wins here. Then they play back-to-back home spot against the Steelers.
I think I have them.
I think they beat the Steelers at home.
Week 15, I had the Steelers losing to the Eagles.
Same. Until that week, I'll be talking shit that week for sure. Then they're at the Washington Commanders.
I have them winning that game too.
Same. Then they are home against the Dallas Cowboys.
I have them winning that game.
And then they are home against the Giants.
Wow, what a huge way to finish the year. Finished 5-0.
I also have them finishing 5-0.
I have them 10-7. Now, mind you, it may not get there that way, but I think I'm fair at 10-7.
You might be fair at 10-7.
Where do you have them at? 12, 13? Seriously, where do you have them at?
14-3. I think they're the best team in the NFL. They're my Super Bowl prediction. I already have the future bet in.
Oh, ain't no way.
Yeah.
Ain't no way.
Absolutely.
I could not disagree more. This is a good football team, but they're probably...
I have them losing at Tampa, at Cincinnati, and at Baltimore.
I don't even know that they win their division.
They win their division by multiple games. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Multiple games. Actually, they might lose to the Giants week 18 because they're resting. No, Kenny Pickett would beat the Giants. Come on. I have them 14-3, and obviously we can all point to the last time that I did this kind of thing to the Eagles. We'll see what happens. I think this roster is young but not too young, veteran but not too old. I think they have great players in the right spots. We talk about offenses exploding. That offensive line, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley with quality backup running backs. Then you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. You switch to the defense and how improved it is at the coordinator and roster. Ooh, I think this team is formidable. Formidable, I think this team is. There will not be a single week. If we did a week-to-week Sunday morning Spotify podcast, I don't think I'd ever pick the Eagles to lose. I'm giving them 3 losses because you can't go perfect in the NFL. They may lose 4 or 5, but 12-5 is the floor for this team. That is the worst they'll go. This team is not losing 6 or more games.
They have an issue at head coach. They just lost arguably one of the greatest players in the history of their franchise at center.
True.
Kind of a critical position. Okay. They have a lot of people they've brought in that have not exactly meshed yet. They're just now getting there. I do wonder how much Saquon will play a part in their season. He is an injury-prone running back. I mean, he's been injured more than half of his NFL career. And I do wonder what locker room issues they have. But 10-7, I think I am right there. I'm guessing Vegas has them at 9.5.
Their win-loss is 10.5.
Okay, so I'm just under.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm fair.
Hey, I'm not saying you're absurd. 10-7 is a good season.
Yeah.
I'm more or less just trying to get my point across to anybody listening. I mean, It's just that roster's loaded.
It is very good.
It would be a tragedy if they did not win their division, I think.
I mean, there may be underlying issues.
There could be, and maybe, yeah.
And I like Kellen Moore, but Dallas lets him go. Then he shows up with the Rams for 1 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
They let him go after 1 year?
No, it was the Chargers. And he wanted
year.
to. Yeah. So I just think that each team he left has a coach that wanted to call the plays. Mike McCarthy and Sean McVay. Nick Sirianni, when Shane Steichen left, wanted to call the plays, and it then became an issue between him and Jalen Hurts, where it was boiling over, where Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were going to the podium after game saying, that's our fault. We tried to do something and force it. And then Nick Sirianni would come to the podium and say, I'm glad they're trying to have my back, but this is on me. I need to do better. It fell apart. The multi-million-dollar quarterback and the head coach came together, and they probably did have some quarrels. Hey, you're not doing this right. This is what needs to happen, blah, blah, blah. And Nick Sirianni said, let me bring in a play caller and I'll get out of the way. So I think that's the stories came out, but it was never like they're taking cheap shots at the podium to each other, or there's practice video coming out where they're like, throwing the ball on the ground, getting in spats. I think it was just like, we let a good season go from our hands because the way you call plays and the way I work just doesn't mesh. So let's take some runs off Jalen and bring in Saquon. Let's pay him, and let's get Kellen Moore, who everywhere he's gone has had significant success with his offenses.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. So, I wasn't trying to say that.
I could be wrong and say maybe there's underlying issues. I just don't think enough has come up. It was basically like head coach and quarterback came to a disagreement. Yeah, their season fell apart. They were upset. I think they've done things to try and change it. I do also. Jason Kelce is a huge loss.
Yeah.
But I do think it's helpful that the left guard, left tackle, and right tackle are already established elite players at their positions also for this new center to come in. And Landon Dickerson, if things do start to go south, can play center, and Cam Jurgens can switch. But they have a left tackle, right tackle, left guard that, in my mind, like, let's just go Madden for perspective. They should all be 92-plus players. They're top three at their position in all three of those spots. Again, I think the Eagles and Lions have the two best offensive lines in the league. 49ers, Falcons right behind them.
Cleveland Browns, we ready?
I will be shortly. Just got to get to the page real quick.
You're good. Cleveland. Definitely got to be the latest. I mean,
I'm ready.
Cleveland Browns, 11-6 last year. They lost their playoff game 45-14 at the Texans. Not great. They did have 7 Pro Bowlers, and here's this for a wild stat. They started 5 quarterbacks last year. That was the most since the 1987 Patriots. Shout out. Literally, Pat Patriot was on the jersey. Myles Garrett did win Defensive Player of the Year. Browns had a great season despite having the quarterback carousel and having one of the best players of their team in franchise history, Nick Chubb, go down with a gruesome injury early in the year. What they did after that honestly speaks testimonies to Kevin Stefanski, who I'm calling you Browns fans out. You guys bitch about him all the time on Facebook and say how he's trash. He's the best thing that's happened to your franchise in my lifetime. He's been very good for you guys. And truthfully, I mean, you can't put this on a quarterback. You couldn't really put this on a running game last year. This team was built on defense and play calling. So Joe Flacco came off the street, off the couch, as he calls it, and was able to sling the ball around. So Browns had a great year, and I look for them to be a force again this year as we move forward. You want to go adds, losses?
Yeah, losses, quarterback Joe Flacco, running back Kareem Hunt, linebacker Taki, Anthony Walker, Jordan Elliott on the defensive side, wide receiver Marquise Gooden, tight end Harrison Bryant, center Nick Harris. They bring in Jerry Jeudy, defensive lineman Quentin Jefferson, 2 quarterbacks, Jameis Winston, Tyler Huntley, who both might be better than their starter, running back Naheem Hines, Devin Bush, Jordan Hicks, and running back Dante Foreman. In the draft, they bring in Ohio State D-tackle Michael Hall Jr. and Michigan man Zach Dinter.
May not play.
Why not?
He is having, I believe, either domestic violence issues. There is something going on with Michael Hall. I'm not exactly 100% sure.
He was a senior last year, right?
Yes.
I don't know. But they also grabbed guard Zach Zinter from Michigan coming off the leg injury, but was tremendous in college. Um, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, D tackle the rest of the way, just later round picks. But yeah,
August 13th, he was arrested for a domestic dispute.
So their offense is built to run the ball. They have Jerome Ford until Nick Chubb comes back. Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore run the wide receiver room. I have talked about offensive linemen. Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller, Joel Bitonio. 3 guys on their line that are all very good. This team is good defensively. In one of the most bizarre cases, I'm assuming it's never happened any other time, but at home, they were the number 1 defense in the league. On the road, they were the number 32 ranked defense in the league. I don't know how you're 32nd on the road with a defensive player of the year. It's crazy to me. But
well, just to defend them real quick, I believe they had a week 2 game or a week 3 game super early in the year where they won a shootout like 48-45 against the Chargers. Okay. And then there was another game late in the year that I think they had a 40-some shootout with. And those obviously can skew numbers.
Yeah, I don't know any DPOY that's allowing 48 points a game.
You can bring your saltiness up. I'm not defending Myles Garrett. I thought that his stats were not as good as TJ's. And just so you know, I was serving beer at the Ottawa County Fair this year, and a guy in a Myles Garrett jersey showed up. I served him his Bud Light, but prior to handing it to him, I said TJ should have been Defense Player of the Year. He handed him his beer.
Well, I appreciate you having my back there and Steeler Nation across the world, but obviously Myles Garrett is a tremendous player.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Myles Garrett, Shelby Harris, Darius Smith, their D-line stacked. The defensive linebackers, I mean, Jordan Hicks, they had Devin Bush, but Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, JOK, the Joker, they just signed him to a 3-year deal out of Notre Dame. I don't know what kind of tomfoolery let this fucking guy slide. And every team that take him, I was so mad. I had him projected, I think, to be the 21st pick. He fell to like 53. I had never been more wrong on a pick to be more right about an assessment. So yes. I do love the fact that Jeremiah does well. Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, Juan Thornhill, Greg Newsome. Again, I try and say it's difficult to hate on a team or say they're going to do bad when I can't really identify where you attack the team. Like, they are good everywhere. They have players everywhere. I think the only thing that can hold them back is quarterback play. And it did last.
So, not to interrupt you, the quarterback play, I knew that's where you were going. Well, I don't think it's as bad as you're making it seem.
I don't want to make it seem that bad. I'm just saying the only thing that can hold them back is quarterback play. And whether it was 1 quarterback or 5, last year they found their best quarterback play with Joe Flacco. The playoffs. I'm just saying this team is run first. They don't need a 4,700-yard passer or Deshaun Watson to throw 4 touchdowns. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's the only place where they can be let down is if their quarterback turns the ball over, throws picks. I stood on we both kind of were like, Deshaun Watson will come back to form. And now it's like, that was almost like 6 years ago when he had a good season. And it's just like, are they tied to him? Like, are Browns fans out there whispering, like, I don't know, I wouldn't mind Jameis Winston. I've heard one Browns fan say, just give him more time. I think DTR can be the future. Tyler Huntley did well for the Ravens. It's like, they have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. And I don't know if most of the population of Browns fans are sold on Deshaun Watson being their best option is all. He could be.
I think it's hard to love Deshaun Watson because of his history and the fact that he hasn't been on the field. But I do think he's the best quarterback on their roster. And I still think that he's a top 20 quarterback in this league. He's close to 20, but he's not a bench quarterback. He's not. I don't believe that. And I understand I don't have the evidence right now, but I just don't believe he's that guy.
I just wonder, like, sometimes, because remember last year was that shoulder injury, and some people would have played through it, and he was just kind of babying it, and it was almost like, are people in the locker room are they not cool with that? And, like, he kind of just threw the rest of the team out. His money's guaranteed. I don't need to play through this injury. And it's like, I don't know. Kevin Stefanski, he's been phenomenal.
He has been.
Kevin Stefanski's been phenomenal. I don't know. It's really hard to be super objective when I just can't. I don't like the Browns. I just don't.
No,
like
I get it.
So it's very hard to be objective at times. Try my best. They're a really good team. I don't think they'll be 1-32 for the home and away on defense. They'll probably be top 5, top 10 in both. You'd assume with this roster. They're not going to blow teams out, I don't think. They're not going to get blown out. This team's going to drag you through the mud every single week, and they seem to be a team that, just like with the shootouts, if it goes that way, they seem to be a team that oftentimes will have a higher score than you after 4 quarters.
Let's hit the schedule.
What were they last year?
11-6. Great season for them.
Man, what did Joe Flacco do at the end? How many did he rattle off?
A lot. I don't know, but a lot.
I want to peep it real quick.
Yeah. Let me know what they finished.
Their last 5 games, they went 4 wins in a row and then fell to the Bengals at the end.
Probably benching guys, honestly.
It may have been. It says that the leading passer was Jeff Driscoll.
Oh, yeah, they benched Flacco. Yeah.
Yep, so and then they went into the playoffs, and we all know what the Texans did to them. But, I mean, outside of the benching, they had their bye week, week 5, when they were 2-2, and they only lost 4 games the rest of the season. One was when they benched their quarterback. So
Yeah.
But yeah, Flacco had over 300 yards passing 4 straight games.
It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the schedule.
Let's get it.
Week 1, Tom Brady's first game on the call. They host the Dallas Cowboys.
I like them to win the game.
Me too. At Jacksonville.
Loss.
I agree. Home against the Giants.
I don't even have to look. Win.
Okay. It's coming up here. I don't know if it'll influence your win-loss that we just did here, but 3 straight road games coming up for the Browns. At Las Vegas Raiders.
Win.
I agree. At the Washington Commanders.
That's week 5. I have that as a win for them.
Win. And now I don't know what the percentages are exactly, but teams to win the 3rd straight road game on a schedule, but it is at Philadelphia.
And I gave them a loss.
You gave the Browns
We
a
are
loss?
going to swap that.
And give the Eagles a win?
Just got a win, and the Browns are going to take a loss, especially because it's after that. Now knowing that, 3rd straight road, and the Eagles actually come off a bye for that game, I'm going to move them to 11-6.
We both have the Browns 4-2 then, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, now 3 straight home games, all 1 o'clock. Bengals, Ravens, Chargers.
They have their way with the Bengals. Is this week 8 or week 7?
This is week 7, home against the Bengals. I like them to win.
Win.
Home against the Ravens.
Loss.
I'll have them beating the Chargers, I think.
That's week 9.
Yeah.
Week 9, I have the Chargers winning.
I'm going to give it to the Browns.
Something about Harbaugh going back to
Ohio.
Yeah, and getting a dub. I just love that for him.
Week 10 bye. I think it's a great spot for them. I have them at 6-3. Where you got them?
5-4.
Okay. The Browns come out of the bye at the New Orleans Saints.
That feels like a win. I don't have the Saints on here, so I'm going to go win.
I have it as a win too. Then it's short week Thursday night football versus the Steelers.
I believe I gave this is week what? 12?
12.
12 I gave to the Browns.
I'll give it to the Browns as well. Then long week Monday night at Denver Broncos.
At Broncos. Just trying to stay consistent here.
Yeah.
Week 13 was a loss for the Broncos, so that's a win for the Browns. They've won 3 in a row coming out of the bye.
Yep. Then it's a shorter week because of Monday night at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That is a loss.
Okay, now I shouldn't have said the Steelers real quick. You know, we talked about the Steelers last 8 or 9, 10 games. Well, a lot of the AFC North the entire North has brutal schedules. These are the last 5 games for the Browns. We've already done the at Pittsburgh Steelers. They're then home against the Kansas City Chiefs.
They're going to win that game.
I have it as a loss. They are then at Thursday night, short week after the Chiefs, at the Bengals.
Can I sell you quick?
Yep.
Week 15 against the Chiefs. What's the date?
It is December 15th.
December 15th. What time?
1 o'clock.
Really? That's a 1 o'clocker.
1 o'clock, December 15th. Wow. Browns.
Fans are going to be rowdy. It's going to be cold. They're going to run the ball. This feels like a Browns home game.
I still like Isaiah Pacheco. I still like the defense. Trent McDuffie, Chris Jones, and the boys.
Yeah.
I think this is a great game. I don't think it's like, oh, Chiefs. I think this is 23-21 Chiefs.
Yeah,
like,
this is
a great game. Why
is
it
at 1 o'clock?
But I'm gonna give the Chiefs this game.
Okay, week 16.
It is a short week, Thursday night football at the Bengals.
That's a Bengals win.
I'm gonna have
week 16. Yeah.
Now we both gave them this win, but again, Thursday night, they get an extended week here, and then host the Dolphins on the 29th.
I feel even better about the win.
Me too. I have them 10-6, but they fall to at Baltimore January 5th. And 10-7.
Yeah, I have Baltimore sweeping them.
I think I gave them. No, I think they lost to Baltimore both times. Yeah.
I have them 10-7.
Hey, we agree.
Look at us. And I feel really good about how I predicted their schedule too.
This was one of the
I haven't loved the way it's gotten there. I've liked the way this has gotten there.
I agree.
I'm going to assume their over-under is 9.5.
8.5.
Wow.
Browns to have a winning record. The whole division did it last year.
Yeah, I think they'll do it again. They still got a very good team.
Over 8.5 seems kind of like I should bet that.
Yeah, I agree. Write that down here.
But yeah, we talked about like the difficult end of the schedule. I mean, we could take the Browns. I know I'm not going to say the bye, but from week 7 to 18, Eagles, Bengals, Ravens, Chargers, Steelers, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens. The Broncos and Saints are sandwiched. The Broncos and Saints are sandwiched in there, but both on the road.
Yeah.
So like we talk about like the whole AFC North is going to be playing 4 or more divisional games in the last like 6 weeks of the season. It's just mind blowing.
I do find it funny that I got the Browns at 10-7 with a win versus Kansas City. You have them at 10-7 with a loss versus Kansas City. You have the Ravens sweeping them?
I have the Ravens sweeping them.
I wonder where our biggest difference was.
Oh, the Chargers.
The Chargers. Okay.
We swapped the Chargers and Chiefs.
That's a good swing game. Yeah. Okay.
To win the division plus 450, make the playoffs plus 148, miss minus 188. So they're favored to miss the playoffs along with the Steelers. Super Bowl plus 3,500. Joe Burrow's back, and I think Vegas doesn't even know how to split it. They just know Ravens and Bengals are the top two, Steelers and Browns are the bottom two, and we'll see what happens. Injuries could obviously happen, who knows, but it's a tremendous division. It just sometimes sucks to be a part of.
Yeah. We ready for Dallas?
Oh, Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys.
This is a unique pod because I don't know. Maybe we have a team, a division doesn't come to mind. Oh, AFC North, where we did Bengals, Steelers. Well, we're doing the NFC North here. Obviously, Eagles and Cowboys in one single pod. But Cowboys last year went 12-5. They lost a home playoff game in devastating fashion to the Green Bay Packers, 48-32, almost giving up a 50 burger, which is wild. This team had 10 Pro Bowlers, but more impressively, 9 of those players were all pro. This is a filthy roster. But tell me why it's not. Take it away.
Their biggest additions I'm seeing here, they added Eric Kendricks. They lost running back Tony Pollard, tackle Tyron Smith, center Tyler Biadasz, I think his name is pronounced, defensive end Armstrong, defensive end Dante Fowler, and defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins. They didn't do really anything in free agency to add. They just kind of got rid of some players. They then draft Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma offensive tackle, Marshawn Nealon, an edge rusher from Western Michigan, and then Cooper Beebe, offensive guard, linebacker from Notre Dame, Maurice Liafau or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce that. Corner, receiver, tackle, D-tackle, just some later picks. You're kind of looking at the same team, minus they lost some offensive linemen, going to try and replace them with rookies. They lost their starting back, and we're not sure what's going on with their number one receiver situation.
Well,
currently with the contract.
You didn't touch on it, but longtime Dallas Cowboy leaves for 1 year and returns Zeke Elliott.
Yes, Zeke was added to. Sorry, I was actually just reading his name. I forgot to say it. You're right.
To be honest, I don't know how much they're going to lean on him, but I was, as a Patriot fan, disappointed when we signed him and disappointed that he left. I thought he was very productive in his opportunities last year, and I don't know if it was just like remotivated or regenerated, but I do wonder how much he's got left in the tank. And I thought in his limited dual role, I thought he was very productive.
Yeah, their secondary, Trayvon Diggs comes back. Deron Bland had a tremendous season.
Yeah.
Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Jordan Lewis round out. Eric Kendricks kind of replaces Leighton Vander Esch, who I believe is retired.
Yep.
Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. Those are the two big names on their defensive line. Mozzie Smith, defensive tackle. The defense was outstanding last year. Offense, kind of the Dak and CD show, kind of lit teams up. Were very fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then, that's what makes the NFL special is that there is no 3, 7, 5-game series. You show up with a sore shoulder and screw up on a Sunday, you're going home for the rest of the year. And
yeah,
Packers were just better that day. So this team is coming off of
a lot better.
3 straight 12-5 seasons.
Something crazy.
I think it's 3 straight 12-1 seasons under Mike McCarthy.
Yeah. I mean, you can say under Dak Prescott, but whatever you want to say.
True. Yeah. I mean, head coach and quarterback, they're going to take most of the blame and the praise.
Yeah. Let's predict them, baby. I got W's all day.
They also have a Jalen Moreno Cropper in their wide receiver room. I just thought that might be worth mentioning. Jalen Moreno Cropper. That's a hyphenated. Oh, and you got to talk about Jake Ferguson. He emerged as a solid tight end last year.
Yeah.
He was bully ball, man. He was the physicality of that offense.
Yeah, good player.
I just would like to say, they lose their their stud D coordinator to a head coach. They lose their offensive coordinator, although Mike McCarthy may call plays. Dak Prescott's starting to whisper like, oh, well, if I'm somewhere else next season, whatever. CeeDee Lamb still hasn't shown up. I don't know if they're going to pay him. They lose 2 offensive linemen, both good, but both veteran. I know Tyron Smith had some injury issues, but their center was really good. Micah Parsons is just, I don't know. He's always got something to say. He hasn't like stirred up drama or nothing, but it just seems like he's always out there. I worry about the mentals of this team to go 12-5 3 straight seasons and have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And I wonder if
That's a fair point.
the seams of the glove are they're just barely hanging on. I feel like one injury or one bad week or one something. I just wonder how unified this team is. That kind of concerns me. But they could also win 12 games again.
Yeah, I don't think they're 12 games. That is a high number. We have taken for granted that they won 12 games. That is a shit ton of wins. I do think that if you really chalk up the NFC quarterback picture, regardless of where you have Dak, they have one of the better NFC quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
And they're almost a lock to make the playoffs because of that. It's just, we'll see. Let's predict.
Yeah, we've hit them both on this pod. I mean, we argue a lot about Dak and Tua, but we both feel like they're good quarterbacks.
No, I think we
just kind of view them a little different. It's funny that
they both win a ton of games.
Yeah. I mean, to put perspective, they were 36-15 over the last 3 seasons in the regular season. That's really good. So, okay. They were 12-5. Before we break it down, I think they will take a step back, but we're about to find out.
Both of us gave them a loss to the Browns week 1 with Brady calling the game.
I'm changing it. No, I'm just kidding. I think they're gonna lose to the Browns week 1.
Okay.
Week 2, they host the New Orleans Saints.
Bounce back game, W.
1-1. Week 3, they're still at home, but the Baltimore Ravens come to town.
That's a great game. What time is that one?
4:25. It'll be the on Fox.
That's a great game.
Yeah.
Ravens can't win them all. Cowboys.
Yeah, you're right. Ravens can't win them all, but they're going to get this one.
I knew that was coming.
They're then short week off the Ravens at the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football.
Win.
I'd love to say the Cowboys offense struggles here, but I think the Giants offense is going to struggle more.
Yeah.
Now it's a longer week, but back-to-back road spot Thursday night into Sunday night where they play at the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They're going to beat the Steelers. I think I have that there. Yeah, I do have them beating the Steelers.
I have them losing to the Steelers. They're then back home against the Detroit Lions.
We haven't done the Lions yet. They did beat the Lions last year. I don't think they'll do it again. This is a loss.
I'm not sure what to do with it, but I'm just going to say the Ravens-Lions, they split. They're going to win one of those, lose one. I don't think they'll both get beat. So I have them 3-3 because our difference here is I have them losing to the Steelers. You have them beating the Steelers. You have them 4-2?
Yeah.
Week 7 bye week.
Okay.
Out of the bye week. Tough here out of the bye week. At the 49ers.
Loss, even coming off a bye.
You say they normally lose after you play the 49ers, right?
Yeah.
At the Falcons.
This is week 9.
Week 9, 1 o'clock at Atlanta.
I have them beating the Falcons. I'm going to stick with it. I know it's tough, but I give them the victory. But this is a different Falcons team now.
Off the 49ers, back-to-back road spot.
I have switched. The Falcons are taking a W here, moving them to 11-6. And the Cowboys are going to take an L here, week 9. 3 straight losses, not great. Sky's falling.
Dude, I don't like what I'm doing to the Cowboys here, but I'm sorry about it. I have them 3-5 right now, and they should be better than that. At week 10, they're hosting the Philadelphia Eagles.
I believe I had them winning the first one.
I had the Eagles sweeping them.
I love that I have them winning the first one, especially now that I have them going 0-3 there. This is a massive must-win game. They're going to win it.
Then it's home again, Monday Night Football. Texas, Dallas versus Houston.
It's a great game. I feel like I would take Dallas in this game. I don't have my Texans picked. I'm going Dallas.
I haven't looked. I'm about to scroll down.
It'll be a Cowboys home game.
I know. I hope that this schedule lightens up, because I want to see where the record ends. After Houston at the Commanders.
Win. I believe I have them sweeping the Commanders. This is week 12.
Yeah.
Wow, I gave the Commanders the win. I hate it. I'm giving them a
short week off the Texans.
Still. Are they home?
No, they're at Washington.
No, dropping them another time. They're going to go 6-11. Cowboys are winning this game.
Okay. Then it's a short week, Thanksgiving. They host the New York Giants.
The Giants are beating them.
Think so?
Yes.
Giants on Thanksgiving over the Cowboys?
They're beating the Giants.
You just said the Giants are beating them.
I said the Giants, they're beating them.
They're beating
the Giants, they're beating,
Got it. So they beat the Giants. Long week, Monday Night Football. They host the Bengals.
Bengals, I believe I have winning that game. No, I do not.
I'm going to go Cowboys here as well.
Cowboys, 5 in a row after losing 3 straight.
I have them winning like 3 in a row. I have them sitting at 6-7 through 13 games. But then they're at the Carolina Panthers.
That's a win.
7-7. They host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday Night Football.
I like this as a win. We haven't done the Buccaneers yet. They're going to win that one.
I like them to win as well. They're then at Philadelphia December 29th.
I have them losing that one.
And then they finish home against the Commanders.
And they're going to win that one.
I had them tearing up the second half of their schedule, and I have them finishing 9-8.
I have them 12-5. I could probably reduce one. I had them getting the Bengals one. I don't love. Not gonna lie.
I think
the Bengals at 12-5 too. I don't see them as a 13-win team. I'm gonna leave it alone.
I think what we're different is I had them losing to the Steelers and losing both to the Eagles. So that's a 2-game switch.
Yeah. You have them at 10-7?
I have them at 9-8. I have them.
Is there over under 10.5?
It's 9.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had them losing to the Texans, the Steelers, and the Eagles. You had them winning those 3 games. That's where our 3 games are different.
Yeah.
But Thursday night, Sunday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Thanksgiving, Monday night, Sunday night. They have 7 prime time. If you don't count Thanksgiving, 6, but 7 on Thanksgiving. And then if you go they're the only local televised game. They obviously have more, but 7, they're the only team on television.
Yeah. And they'll be a good watch. They're going to be a good football team. They're going to have their storylines. They're going to have their problems. They're going to have their losses. At one point, they're going to lose 3 in a row. Crazy for a 12-win team, but heck, I mean, the Eagles last year went 11-6 and lost they went 1-5 to close the year. So
yeah, I mean, the Steelers went 11-0 one year and then finished 12-5.
Yeah.
You see it lots. One team I think went 20-0 and then lost the last one. teams go on runs and some teams lose. Like the season ends up just being how it is. Cowboys win the division plus 175, make playoffs minus 200, miss plus 158, Super Bowl plus 1800.
Yep. It was tough.
Oh, they should have won. But
Tell you what, these are good football teams today. Dolphins, Eagles, Browns, Cowboys.
Hey,
I have them going 11-6, 11-6, 10-7, and 12-5. These are great teams.
When we do our prediction show, maybe we'll even release that the Thursday morning of the opening week game. We may kick it off that week, but we'll also have to because it's traditionally half, which is 7. We'll give 6. We'll go 3 from the AFC, 3 from the NFC, or 6 total. We'll figure that out. But we'll tell you what teams made the playoffs that'll miss and what teams missed the playoffs that will make. And we'll have to see how that shapes up. But as you can see, some of these teams going up and down, you can kind of guess which teams will have where. But, yeah, I think for a lot of people locally, Eagles, Cowboys, Dolphins, Browns, especially the Browns, but there's a lot of teams in here that I know a lot of people in this area seem to have interest in. Yeah. And these teams, they made the playoffs. They're going to be good.
Yeah. All these episodes have been on YouTube. That's where you find them, exclusive as of right now. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, tell your friends, listen to the old episodes. We'll have more coming. This is teams 21 through 24, and I hope you guys are digging what we're doing.
Shout out the Red Devils getting off to a hot start. 1-0, baby.
There you go. College football up soon. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that as it comes. But
this Saturday.
Yeah.
Florida State, Georgia Tech in Ireland.
Good luck to your fantasy football drafts. Don't drink too much. Be good, and we'll see you guys next time.